Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to welcome you all to today's first virtual NRW-ASEAN Summit. For a variety of reasons, this event is important for our land, North Rhine-Westphalia, and I'm very happy meeting you all within this round of economic and political actors. The volume of trade between North Rhine-Westphalia and the 10 ASEAN states in 2020 equaled 11.1 billion euros. The ASEAN region is, after China and the United States, the third largest trading partner of the European Union. ASEAN is the third largest recipient of foreign direct investments worldwide. Last but not least, with around 625 million inhabitants and high growth rates, the ASEAN market offers tremendous opportunities. Aligned with the federal government's Indo-Pacific guidelines, we have therefore committed ourselves to diversify our foreign economic relations to Asia. In particular, we want to strengthen our economic relationship with Southeast Asia, and we regard the ASEAN region as a key political partner, especially in the areas of trade, sustainability, and digitalization. Asia is a continent of the future. Hence, the importance of Asia in the areas that I have mentioned is going to increase even further. Consequently, I have created the position of the official representative for the development of the economic relations with Southeast Asia in my ministry, which will be filled by Mr. Karl-Uwe Büthoff. Mr. Büthoff will serve as a key representative of our ministry for the dialogue with the ASEAN states. Following today's event, we are planning a physical political delegation trip to Singapore in the last week of April, which Mr. Büthoff will lead. We are also planning a physical business delegation trip to Singapore.
Minister, apologies for interrupting, but you are muted for the last 5 seconds.
It was not.
Yeah, now we can hear you again. Maybe the last sentence again. Thank you.
Sorry for these inconveniences. We are also planning a physical business delegation trip to Singapore at the end of August. NRW Global Business and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Münster will lead this trip. As a next step, we will design specific events with additional ASEAN states beyond Singapore. To deepen our commitment to the region, my ministry will also organize an Ambassadors in Dialogue tour through North Rhine-Westphalia in June, which we will jointly organize with the German Asia Pacific Business Association, OAV. We invite all ambassadors from the Asia Pacific region to a 2-day tour in order to get a first-hand impression of the vast cultural offerings as well as economic variety and the growth potentials of our state. In order to strengthen our collaboration with the ASEAN states, we work closely with our partners who are active in this area. This includes, among others, NRW Global Business, our state-owned business agency, the local chambers of industry and commerce, the chambers of commerce abroad, the German Asia Pacific Business Association, the NRW Innovation Agency, so-called CENIT, the state-owned NRW Bank, the GIZ, the German Institution for International Cooperation, the communal business development units, Germany Trade and Invest, as well as associations and partners engaging in business activities, particularly focused on Southeast Asia. I would like to take a moment to thank all of our partners, especially the Chambers of Commerce in Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam, for their valuable support. Furthermore, my gratitude applies to all of today's speakers, panelists, and organizers. Especially in uncertain and challenging times like these, with global pandemics and international conflicts, we need strong and reliable partnerships more than ever. In addition to cherishing exciting partnerships, we want to establish new ones with local stakeholders in the Asian countries, be it international or local companies, political actors, or key business associations. Today, we would like to listen to the stories of these stakeholders and their experiences in Southeast Asia. We are going to hear the tremendous opportunities that Southeast Asia offers for businesses in North Rhine-Westphalia that are considering to expand their business endeavors. Two areas in which the ASEAN countries are particularly flourishing are digitization and Industry 4.0. Today, we focus on related business experiences in Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. However, we particularly want to emphasize that all 10 ASEAN countries, including Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and the Philippines, offer unique business opportunities that will benefit these states and North Rhine-Westphalia mutually. Consequently, Mr. Fu is going to provide us with an overview of the future trends and development of the whole ASEAN region and its enormous innovation potential. Innovations are the key driver for economic growth. They help us to master current challenges such as the COVID pandemic, climate change, demographic change, and structural transformation of industries. Innovations are essential for staying competitive and keeping up with the pace of the fast-changing market in a globalized world. The state of North Rhine-Westphalia is already an innovative powerhouse with the highest density of large companies, startups, hidden champions, universities, and research institutes in all of Germany. With today's event, we want to highlight the overall innovation potential of Southeast Asia. Today, we want to encourage more German companies to explore the ASEAN region, its market potential, and its possibilities for foreign direct investments. Furthermore, would we like to encourage our ASEAN partners to strengthen our economic relations to the benefit for both sides. Now, we are looking forward to hear today's stories and thereby jointly tap into the great potential of our future economic cooperation. Thank you very much for your attention, and we are really looking forward for a great lecture.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear partners, dear friends from the ASEAN region and from North Rhine-Westphalia, let me also welcome you very warmly on behalf of NRW Global Business, the trade and investment agency of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, or in short, as we like to call ourselves, NRW. It's actually a real pleasure to greet all of you here digitally for our first ever summit between the ASEAN region and the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And the minister already pointed out, we believe that we have a lot to offer to our friends and partners in the ASEAN region because we are the economic powerhouse in Germany. We are the leading state in terms of GDP, of business power. 20% of the German GDP is generated here in North Rhine-Westphalia. We have a huge market potential in Western Europe. So 1/3 of all consumers in the European Union live within a 500-kilometer radius around our capital, Düsseldorf. We are an old industrial location, have a very strong industrial structure. So 19 of the 50 highest grossing companies in all over Germany are based here in North Rhine-Westphalia. And we have many, many innovative medium-sized companies. So 1 out of 4 hidden champions, innovative, internationally successful medium-sized companies, 1 of 4 hidden champions in all over Germany has its home here in North Rhine-Westphalia. And the minister already pointed it out, we are also a very innovative location. We have many, many IT and software companies which are very active in future-oriented technologies such as 5G, smart mobility, artificial intelligence, or especially cyber security. And this is based, this innovative dimension of our state is based on what we call the densest research and development network in all over Europe. We have a very broad landscape when it comes to research and development, 68 universities, 110 technology centers, and over 750,000 students from all over the world. So we believe that we are also the leading talent factory within Europe. And all of this potential, I think, is very attractive for international partners. We have more than 20,000 companies from abroad who've come to North Rhine-Westphalia, invested here, and are doing business here. Among them also a number of companies from the ASEAN region. And we, as NRW Global Business, the state agency for trade and development, we support companies. On the one hand, companies from North Rhine-Westphalia who are interested to do business abroad, who want to go, for example, to the ASEAN region and learn about the market potential there. And on the other hand, we support also companies coming from abroad to North Rhine-Westphalia who want to invest here, who want to set up shop in our state. And as the minister has pointed out, the ASEAN region is a very interesting partner region for us. We have seen the tremendous growth potential, and we believe that there are excellent prospects for partnership, for cooperation between North Rhine-Westphalia and the ASEAN region. We are going to explore some of them in the event today, Digitalization, Industry 4.0, but we believe also that there's further potential in fields like green energy, like health, or smart cities. And therefore, we have put a strategic focus on this region. We will go with the commissioner, Mr. Büthoff, in April to visit your region. We are also planning a 4-day business mission with companies in late August to Singapore. And we want to bring companies who are excellent in smart industry solutions and startups, and want to really introduce them to the potential and the market opportunities in Singapore. And we very much hope to see some of you also during these missions. But for now, starting point, I will lead you a little bit through the program, and I'm looking very much forward to this. And now I will, as the third speaker, I will give the word to Mr. Jens Rübbert. He's the president of the AHK, of the Singaporean German Chamber of Industry and Commerce, for his welcome. Mr. Rübbert, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. That seems to be the case. Minister, Professor Dr. Andreas Pinkwart, Minister of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, my dear friend, Mr. Douglas Fu, Council Member of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ladies and gentlemen. Also from my side, on behalf of the Singaporean German Chamber of Industry and Commerce, a very warm welcome to the NRW-ASEAN Summit as part of the program of the virtual delegation from NRW led by Minister Pinkwart. I'm very glad to see so many company representatives from North Rhine-Westphalia, Singapore and the ASEAN region joining this event today. The virtual delegation program was developed and organized by us, the Singaporean German Chamber, in collaboration, of course, with the NRW Ministry of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization and Energy, and NRW Global Business, whom I would like to thank for your great efforts and the very good collaboration. The conference, I think, is part of the mentioned delegation program with bilateral meetings taking place over the course of this week. Furthermore, as mentioned by Minister Pinkwart, physical delegations from NRW will come to Singapore end of April and end of August. We are very much looking forward to seeing you then. It's excellent to see that North Rhine-Westphalia shows such a great commitment to Singapore and the region. We as Singapore and German Chamber are proud to be the official partner for organizing the programs of the upcoming 2 delegations. And if you would like to get involved or want us to have, or you want more detailed information, please reach out to us anytime. I have been in Asia myself for more than 18 years. And by the way, I was born in the heart of North Rhine-Westphalia in the so-called Ruhrgebiet. So I know what I'm talking about. And I can tell you from my experience that Singapore and the ASEAN region offer great opportunities for German companies. And it is always good to have organizations and people in the different countries who can consult and assist the companies in their market entry or expansion requirements. Therefore, we and our sister chambers around in this region are very happy to assist the companies with their ventures and welcome them to Singapore and the ASEAN region. With that, I wish you a wonderful and insightful conference. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rupert. And we are also very glad to cooperate with the Singaporean German Chamber in our activities to establish a partnership between NRW and the ASEAN region. Now, let me invite Mr. Douglas Fu, who's here with us. Very impressive resume. He's the president of the Singapore Manufacturing Federation, the vice chairman of the Singapore Business Federation, and I think this is the capacity in which he will speak today. He's one of Singapore's 3 appointed representatives in the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. So thank you very much, Mr. Fu, for being here with us. And I would like to invite you now to give us your keynote speech on the current state of the ASEAN, the key sectors, and its future vision. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Professor Dr. Andreas Pinkwart, Minister of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization, and Energy of the German Federal State, North Rhine-Westphalia, NRW. Mr. Jens Hubert, President of the Singaporean German Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Felix Nogat, Chief Executive of NRW Global Business GmbH. Esteemed speakers from Germany, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Distinguished guests and participants from Germany, ASEAN countries, and other regions. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to each of you. I'm both honored and humbled to be here as a council member of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, or ASEAN BAC, to deliver the keynote speech for this webinar. Allow me to first of all to thank Professor Dr. Andreas Pinkwart for gracing this event with your presence and for leading a delegation of distinguished German business leaders to join today's online event. I would also like to record my warm welcome to Minister Professor Pinkwart and your delegation for your efforts in connecting and engaging with the ASEAN business community. We are indeed happy to meet with all of you, a bit through virtual means. Indeed, today's webinar has successfully demonstrated that even with COVID-19 travel restrictions, we are able to connect with each other through digitalization and technologies. As I deliberated on what topic to speak on for this keynote speech, it dawned on me that the very definition of what is a key and what is a note have already evolved within the last couple of decades. A key is no longer something you physically stick into a lock to unlock it. We can now use our own fingers, our eyes, our mobile devices to unlock a plethora of things from your house door to your safe, and cars can now even be started without any physical keys inside. Similarly, a note now no longer is a paper and a pen thing. Apple Pencils, Samsung S Pens are but 2 main examples of how people take notes in today's world. All of these innovations are attributed to the ingenuity of the human mind in bringing forth technological advancements. I am therefore excited to share in my speech today the limitless opportunities in ASEAN through the adoption of digitalization and the progress of Industry 4.0. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, currently consists of 10 member nations in Southeast Asia: Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Brunei, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. With strong intergovernmental relations, the ASEAN countries are working towards the goal of creating an ASEAN economic community, building on the close economic ties of the 10 member countries. Currently, ASEAN is poised to become the 4th largest global economic bloc in terms of GDP by year 2030. And ASEAN will be the center of geopolitical area with enormous potential for growth. According to economic predictions, ASEAN working age population will increase by 40 million by 2030 and will contribute 140 new consumers, representing 16% of the world's new consumer class. Income levels are expected to grow annually by 6 to 8%, creating economies powered by the middle class that are increasingly becoming digitally connected and global in outlook. The analysis is that such favorable demographics and rising income levels will drive domestic consumption, which powers about 60% of the ASEAN GDP today, to about $4 trillion by 2030. The 4th Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0, was highlighted by ASEAN leaders during the 30th ASEAN Summit on 29 April 2017. They recognized that the region needs to be ready and be able to maximize the technologies that Industry 4.0 will bring forth. This would be a driving force for the region's economic growth and promote inclusive and equitable economic development. Since the summit in 2017, the ASEAN region has seen a proliferation of Industry 4.0 related initiatives and activities such as cybersecurity dialogues, cooperation and policy development under the ASEAN Political Security Community, and the launch of the ASEAN Declaration on Industry Transformation to Industry 4.0 under the ASEAN Economic Community, and an ASEAN single window for trade documentation among the 10 countries. When Singapore took the chairmanship in 2018, the 10 countries braving the future together was seen as a unifying vision. Hence, during the 32nd ASEAN Summit in 2018, the ASEAN leaders established the ASEAN Smart Cities Network, or ASCN, a platform where cities across ASEAN could work together towards the common goal of smart and sustainable urbanization. Using technology as an enabler, the ASCN aims to achieve 3 things. 1, promote cooperation on smart city development among ASEAN cities. 2, develop commercially viable projects between public and private sector solution providers. And 3, facilitate collaboration with ASEAN's external partners through funding and other avenues of support. A pioneer batch of 26 diverse cities from across the region, such as Singapore, Johor Bahru, Phnom Penh, and Jakarta, were nominated by their respective governments to be part of the Smart Cities Network, with a Chief Smart City Officer to oversee the city's drive towards smart and sustainable urbanization. Through the ASCN, though the ASCN is regional, it is envisioned that the ASCN will have a global reach. One of ASCN's core goals is to find suitable collaborators among governments, businesses, and financial institutions across the globe, and this goal will provide impetus to NRW enterprises to collaborate with ASEAN companies to tap on the flourishing digital market in ASEAN. Leveraging on ASEAN's existing network of external partners, it is hoped that many mutually beneficial partnerships beyond the ASEAN region will be forged. I'm glad that Germany is a development partner, and for ASEAN, this partnership with Germany is the first-class cooperation that ASEAN has with Germany that spans across key areas such as political security, economic, as well as socio-cultural areas. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused disruption to value chains globally, and lead to decrease in commercial activities worldwide. However, on the plus and positive side, it is undeniable that COVID-19 has also catalyzed and speed up ASEAN region's digital shift as digital technologies and innovations become indispensable for economic activities and connections among countries during this pandemic. Accordingly, it is in such challenging times that the ASEAN community launched the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework, a whole of community exit strategy to recover from COVID-19, which identifies the acceleration of inclusive digital transformation as one of the key strategies to recover from COVID-19. One of the priorities in the strategy was the development of the consolidated strategy on the fourth industrial revolution for ASEAN. With this strategy, ASEAN community envisions three things. One, a digital ASEAN that is open, secure, transparent, and connected while respecting privacy and ethics in line with international best practices. Two, a digital ASEAN that harnesses technologies to build a resilient, inclusive, integrated, and globally competitive economy. And three, a digital ASEAN that embraces innovation in transforming society and in contributing to social progress and sustainable development. To fulfill the vision of a digital ASEAN economy, three focus areas will be pursued. One, technological governance and cybersecurity, which will lay the foundation for a digital ASEAN community. Two, digital economy, which aims to maximize economic opportunities presented by Industry 4.0. And three, digital transformation of society, which will encourage the ASEAN community to capitalize on Industry 4.0 to address socio-economic challenges that persist in the region and ensure no one in ASEAN is left behind. With these frameworks and strategies in place, it is no wonder that the World Economic Forum predicted there will be nearly 575 million internet users in ASEAN by 2030 due to rapid digital adoptions. As the push for digitalization continues, it will reach communities in rural areas, removing barriers that hinder small business growth and enable the delivery of basic services such as healthcare and financial services. Yet, the differing levels among the 10 ASEAN states with regard to technological levels and speed of development would correspondingly present a challenge in getting to a uniform industry revolution standard within a moving timeframe of technological advancement. According to the same World Economic Forum report, the 10 ASEAN countries are classified into three different groups, with Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam classified as emerging economies, while Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Brunei at the other end of the spectrum. In another survey by the World Economic Forum, NC, a Singapore-based global consumer internet company, the key barriers that are hindering digitalization across the region are affordability and quality of internet, level of digital skills, which include a lack of confidence and understanding to use them, and trust and security for those surveyed who are more active digital users. In this regard, there are many aspects of digitalization and Industry 4.0 in the ASEAN region which companies in Germany and the North Rhine-Westphalia state may consider for possible collaboration. In fact, ASEAN and Germany reaffirmed their commitment in November 2021 to further strengthen relations by exploring new opportunities for cooperation. Some of the areas that both sides acknowledge that a deeper cooperation is required through regional programs and initiatives are: 1, trade and investment cooperation; 2, energy security; 3, innovation and technology; 4, connectivity; and 5, support for narrowing the development gap and initiative for ASEAN integration. These are just some of the few areas that both parties agreed to cooperate in. There are many other areas in ASEAN that will require the expertise of companies from Germany and especially from the North Rhine-Westphalia to further build the Industrial 4.0 infrastructure in the ASEAN community. For NRW companies that are only beginning to build relations with ASEAN companies, I strongly encourage you to leverage on Singapore's connectivity and use us as a springboard into the ASEAN market. I also take this opportunity to encourage enterprises from the NRW to work with Singapore companies for your business expansion to ASEAN. Singapore is a key player in ASEAN, and there are opportunities for NRW companies to leverage on Singapore's connectivity and communication hub in ASEAN to build and develop your business with ASEAN countries. As I conclude, I hope that today's online event will bring about and sustain a growing interest amongst companies in Singapore and Germany to work together for mutual benefit. I also hope that opportunities to work together will arise and may we herald a new areas of economic growth even in this challenging global climate, and including the rest of working with all our ASEAN neighbor sisters and brothers. Last but not least, allow me to congratulate Mr. Jens Hubert, President of the Singaporean German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, SGC, and the SGC for taking the leadership and initiative to bring this NRW delegation to have meetings with ASEAN companies for collaboration. Thank you so much, SGC, for playing the important role of matchmaker and connector. I'm sure many fruits will come out of this meeting. Thank you very much, and allow me to wish each of you here all good fortunes and good health. Keep safe, stay well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fu, for your keynote speech. We will definitely accept your invitation to come to Singapore to check out the potential there for the whole of the Asian region with our 2 planned business trips. And thank you also for mentioning a number of key sectors where you're focusing on in the ASEAN region. I think there are many, many connecting points to what we do here in North Rhine-Westphalia. On 2 of these areas, digitalization and Industry 4.0, we are going to focus now in 2 panels, and these panels will be chaired by our new commissioner for the ASEAN region, Mr. Uwe Büthoff. He's also a child of the Ruhr area, like Mr. Rubert, has a long and distinguished career here in the ministry, and today he's a, let me put it like this, the personification of our commitment and of our engagement in and with the ASEAN region. So Uwe, over to you.
Thank you very much, Felix Neugaard, for giving the floor now to our panel discussion with honorable representatives of in the Asian region experienced companies. And in some part, science is involved also. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, from our program, we have 2 panels, everyone 40 minutes, and our panelists will give us impressions on how to do best if you do business in the ASEAN region. At the end of every panel, I will ask Mr. Pinkwart for statements. And if there are questions from the auditorium, please send it to us via chat. We could answer then 1 or 2 live if there is time left. Please keep in mind, the intention of this course is to encourage more German companies into exploring the ASEAN regions as an important market and possible FDI location. And our companies now are curious to know about possibilities, chances, and risks, and your experiences doing business in the ASEAN region. Our first panel is about digital trends and the current business situation in Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And I start with you, Mr. Dorn, Corporate Senior Vice President, Craftsman, Constructions and Professional, and President Henkel Asia Pacific, based in Singapore. Henkel Adhesive Technologies is the global leader in the adhesive market across all industry segments worldwide. Henkel has operated here in Singapore since '83, last century. Their APAC supply chain office is located here. Mr. Dorn, could you explain us, please, what role does Singapore and digitalization play for Henkel in APAC in general and with regards to the supply chains?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, and very happy to. Singapore for Henkel and Asia Pacific is a quite important location. As you already mentioned, we do have our regional supply chain operating out of Singapore. So what does that mean? For all of our businesses, adhesives, beauty and laundry, we run our entire operations, manufacturing and supply chains for all of APAC, also including China, out of Singapore. Doesn't mean that all those roles are here in Singapore, but they're steered out of Singapore. At the same time, we do have our global procurement, also categories for various raw materials based out of Singapore. So we have two global centers. One is in Amsterdam and the second one is Singapore. So for us, Singapore plays a crucial role on basically keeping the lights on in all our factories and keeping the value streams going, and especially in the current challenging environment with supply disruptions and so forth, the heart is really beating in Singapore. To the second part of your question, what role does digitalization play? For us, digitalization is a key element. Not only do we continuously invest ever more and more money and resources into digitalization, for us, it's also not only an efficiency play, it is much more an effectiveness play on how do we have IoT of things, how can we smart up our factories, but also create new business models with our customers. And here, the entire ecosystem, especially with the great universities, with the institutions in Singapore, plays a great role, because for us, especially on the operations side, we do drive a lot of global elements out of Singapore, not only into Asia Pacific, but also into our factories, into Europe and the Americas. And especially Southeast Asia, in this area, Singapore is a fantastic magnet for talents. So for us, it's a great area to recruit talents, not only directly in Singapore, also out of the neighboring countries to create those jobs and roles here in Singapore.
And it's good to hear about your explanation about your activities there, and the fact that you mentioned that Singapore is the magnet for talents. So that is perhaps a motivative call for others listening to us. Dr. Hu Le Nguyen, Chairman of TMA Solutions Vietnam. I want you to ask two questions. But let me explain first that TMI is one of the largest software outsourcing companies in Vietnam. You have about 3,300 engineers, and you have so many locations in so many other states worldwide. So, Mr. Nguyen, my two questions to you. First, as a part of 4.0 and increased digitalization in the country, the Vietnamese government and enterprises are investing heavily in Internet of Things and big data. Where do you see the main challenges and opportunities?
Thank you very much, Mr. Buthoff. I see a lot of opportunities. The reason is because for digitalization or Industry 4.0, we need a lot of people. And Vietnam is very fortunate because we are, as you know, we probably one of the member of the Club 100 of 13 countries. Those countries that have more than 100 million people. And 70% of those 100 million are under 35 years old. Coupled with the fact that Vietnam have had always a very strong tradition in education. Every parent's dream is to send their children to universities. And as a result of that, we have a very large number of university graduates every year. Furthermore, and this probably came back to the French time, we also have a very strong tradition in mathematics. And as a result of that, most of our young graduates are very good in terms of dealing with this new technology that require a strong background in mathematics. Things like AI, machine learning, data analytics, blockchain. So we only see a lot of opportunity in order to utilize this huge human resource pool in order to support the development in Vietnam, as well as in the region as well, especially, in the ASEAN region. So we look forward actually to be able to become better known as a technology country, as opposed to as a country of just cheap labor.
Thank you very much. You spoke about AE and data analytics. Can you share more with us how the journey of TMA Solutions started? How did you convince customers to implement software solutions for them? And do you see an expected change in the customers' requirements in the next years? And if yes, what are the likelies? Thanks for your short answer.
We, TMA, we have recognized the importance of these new technology, especially the Industry 4.0. So even 10 years ago, we have invested a lot in terms of staying ahead of these technology. Initially, in order to support our outsourcing customer from North America and from Europe. As those customers, many of them are simply lacking of people. And they then try us out as to whether we can actually offer not only just programming services, but also those services that require these new technology. And it worked very well. And as a result of that, we don't actually have to sell them. They simply come to us because they need people with those skills in order to, utilize this new technology in their product. And I'm glad to say that Germany, being a very traditional, so-called very hard customer when it comes to technology, are also lacking people as well. And that's possibly one of the reasons why we have the summit today. And I'm glad that we also recognize the need from Europe, Europe in general, and also from Germany in particular. So we have opened actually an office in Germany last year, and we are now working with at least one German partner in order to promote digital transformation among many of the German companies who are very strong in hardware, from the automobile manufacturer to other high-tech but hardware-centric company who realize that nowadays, in order to make their system running smarter, better, they would need software. They would need those Industry 4.0 technology. And again, our contribution is simply the human capital, as opposed to, as I said, pure labor. So we don't really, in a lot of ways, we are very lucky, and even in Vietnam, we are fighting that not only the government, but also the private enterprise are also needing us as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Negan. I'm very lucky as well, knowing first that you are present here in Germany with your company, and that we can collaborate together on the challenges of the future, because the points you mentioned, I think the main task we have to solve and to fulfill. I would like to ask you, Mr. Atul Tuli, from Managing Director from SAP Indochina. And we are aware, Mr. Tuli, that SAP is a big German multinational software corporation, and SAP and Qualtrics, also a software company in Singapore, and the Singapore Economic Development Board commits really a lot of money to establish Singapore as a regional hub for experience management innovation. Mr. Tuli, I have two questions. I put them together. First, can you share with us about increasing use of data analytics, deep tech, and other advanced manufacturing methods? From SAP's point of view, what key developments do you see taking place in Thailand regarding these aspects? And second, is there enough talent for this sector in Thailand? And if not, how does SAP overcome it?
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Bharat. Firstly, I would like to thank for having us here. I'm Atul, and Managing Director for SAP Indochina. Indochina for us is Thailand and adjoining countries. I'm based out of Bangkok and honored to speak today. We have been in this region in Singapore for close to 30 plus years. And I just celebrated our 26th year last year. So this is our 27th year in Thailand alone. So great to be here in ASEAN in this event. I'm particularly pleased to be following some of the discussions from the minister and also from the NRW representative and also from my ASEAN colleagues also. And some of the insights which we are already talking, and somewhere we are coming to the digitalizations, the industry 4.0, which is my bread and butter, and that's where we are really focusing on. So what we are seeing with this industry 4.0 is it's bringing in new technologies, and I was looking at some chats like on AI, the data analytics and robotics to automate some of the processes. And that will definitely help us to kind of reduce the labor intensive and the manual task. And while the chat and discussions are, and that's what Thailand and Vietnam are trying to change ourselves, that we are not only hub for, we are obviously a beautiful country, and tourism is one of our big factors, but not only for cheap labor, we're also bringing in a lot of technology. Some of the largest automotive hubs, some of the largest manufacturing, to the extent even a lot of other discrete manufacturing companies are based out of Thailand globally, and we are for CPG industries, consumer product industries. So Thailand and Vietnam, a lot of ASEAN countries are a hub, but because we provide that technology, what we are seeing is more and more these technologies are coming in, and that's not only for global from an export point of view, because my responsibility is to look at Thailand's requirement. It's also helping us to bring in more customer experience for our customers. So that's what is helping us to improve the productivity. Also helping us to kind of, this helps our organization, our customers to be more competitive in this, in the current world. And digital transformation and automation helps to a lot of that customer. So that's what a lot of ASEAN and specifically Thailand companies. Coming back to Thailand specifically, there was a study done, and I'm happy to share it later, by IDC, a third party, that 45% of Thailand's production work capacity would be automated. Now, what would that mean? The human resources professionals, be it on the contact center, be it on the software programmers, the factory workers, all of them have to move, and there would be a lot of requirement from the digital technology side, from a resources point of view, also technology point of view. Thailand's alone, and I'm just talking about Thailand, I'm not talking about larger ASEAN, to use these technology, there was an estimate done again by a third party that there would be a 50 billion worth of productivity gains in next decade or so. So we are seriously looking at how to use this technology, and as a vendor, we are helping our customers to be ready with this. Now, what has also happened is, what we call as the, new normal or the never normal with COVID, pandemic, and that's not going to go away. And people have understood, this is now the new world we live in. So how this industry digital transformation is, moving one towards cloud, towards agile, to upskill the workforce and the technologies also. That's where SAP really comes in. Now, to your second part of your question, do we have enough talent? I would say we are always dearth of good talent, and we are hiring. When I really say we, I'm including my partners also. And one of the things which has happened is, which we have seen latest trend is, and specifically in Thailand, because of the language, we need a lot of local resources. So that gives a lot of importance for hiring locally. So, and what we are doing is, as an organization, we and our partners, we have SAP user group, we have our partner community. So I might be employing, let's say 100 people, my partners included, we are employing close to 1,000. However, we are giving jobs to more than 10,000 SAP professionals. I'm just talking about Thailand alone. We have tie-up with 10 universities who run SAP courses. And this is an ongoing thing which we are doing. And I'll honestly, have we reached there? No, because there is so much SAP, and we are also acquiring new technologies, new innovations, new organization. We have acquired Qualtrics, as you mentioned. So we are also building up, not only in Thailand, we have a big hub in Philippines. Singapore obviously is our APAC, in fact, APJ hub. So we hired big talent in Singapore also. But at the local resources, this all is happening in Vietnam. We are in 6 main countries. We also support Cambodia, Myanmar, Nepal. All this is part of Indochina.
So good to see how colorful your help is towards customers for being ready for them for all the future tasks and things. Yes. And it was good to hear, interesting for people thinking about investing in business in your state, in your country, that it is important because of the language, as you told, that we need a lot of local colleagues working for the companies. So thank you very much for that. And I would like to ask you now, Mr. Dawn, President Henkel, Asia Pacific. ASEAN has been described as a market with a huge potential in the last years. What strategic role does Southeast Asia play for Henkel?
No, thank you very much for the question. Now, Southeast Asia for us is a very attractive market. So the first part, we have today 11 manufacturing sites across the various countries to support our industries, most of it towards adhesives. And within clear clusters in countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. And we do see that primarily we produce in the region for the region. So most of the demand is actually for the industries and consumed within Asia. And that's a bit the current picture, but also looking forward, this is changing quite radically. We do see that consumer behavior, consumer preferences are changing significantly. Digitalization, as also mentioned earlier from the co-panelists, is changing radically. If you look at what's happening in Indonesia today or Vietnam, where everybody has a smartphone, Tokopedia, Lazada, Shopee, with all the different infrastructures, that is radically changing the way and route to market. And that we view as a big opportunity, because as you mentioned also in the introduction, Southeast Asia has a very large population pool, and the purchase power is increasing every day. And if you look at GDP growth, the engine of Asia right now, nobody knows what China will do in 2022, but we do see significant robust growth has happened in the last few years in Southeast Asia. And looking forward to 2022, 2023, we are extremely optimistic regarding Southeast Asia because the demands will increase. There are opportunities for the brands and the technologies that Henkel brings to the table. And a lot of those segments, we are not that active. In the B2B environment, we have a very strong market position. In the more B2C and direct to consumer, less so. So we are looking in some of our areas of how can we use the technology and digital infrastructure that is now in place to go digital first. So in Europe, we would probably look at how do we do through brick and mortar. And now for consumer adhesives, our idea is let's go digital first, and maybe it's digital only, and really look at the infrastructure that's evolving and the ecosystem that is active here in Southeast Asia. And the dynamic is incredible. It's simply awesome to see what is happening and how well all the people are educated. It's a huge opportunity.
Yes, when I hear that, I got the impression that a lot of the things are as well here in the political guidelines in Germany, in our politics. So thank you very much for your optimistic view of the development of Southeast Asia. And I would to switch to Mr. Turi from SAP Indochina once again. And I would like to ask you, e-mobility is a growing sector with the automotive industry. What is the perception of e-mobility in automotive sector in Thailand? How does this influence the production process in Thailand?
Okay, thanks. And again, we can't deny that global warming or climate change and sustainability are a major problem for us, and like every mankind in that sense, not only Thailand. And the rise of e-mobility to urgently to tackle climate change and cut vehicle carbon emission is one of the critical factors for many Thailand automotive companies. As I mentioned earlier, Thailand is a automotive hub for a lot of German, auto manufacturers, but also a lot of Japanese manufacturers also, and they are taking it. So what Thailand has done is they sell. Obviously, they are supporting a lot of these global and catering to all their requirements, but also for our own local consumption. Also, by 2035, we would be only selling or buying zero emission vehicles. So that's the aim. That's the SDG goal which they have done, and it also helps transform ourselves to Southeast Asian hub for the production of the conventional autos to moving to electric cars. So that's what Thailand has taken, and most of my customers, 10% of our economy is currently coming from auto companies. Either it's a large manufacturer or the discrete auto parts or something or related, and we deploy close to 850,000 to 900, close to 1 million workers are related to that. So in that sense, it all involve them to be ready, future ready for that. And that's where, again, for SAP also, we have been in this space for 50 years, and sustainability is a key thing for us. And we have been the resource management, for 50 years. We are like 87% of global commerce alone is done via SAP using our technology. So what we are doing is there's a huge opportunity for us, but also a challenge for us to leading this automotive industry for e-mobility. We are helping our organizations, our customers, adopting the right technology and how it can help further organizations to move quickly to capture that direction as the world moving to the zero emission. So obviously, needless to say, the benefits of e-mobility, I need not tell this team, but we are looking at not only the carbon consumption, but also the supply chain can also design to a zero carbon footprint mission. That's where, again, we are helping a lot of our organizations with the tools which we have to transfer their business to zero emission. We are using a lot of upstream data about goods and services, how we buy, how we distribute, how we package, to the downstream data from how products are processed, transported, and used to make these better decisions. So e-mobility is still, last few years it has become, we have been doing this in the CPG space because that's, again, is a big segment for us. So we have been helping a lot of consumer product, food processing, and all in this value chain of that also. And also how one of the things which SAP follows with our customers is how move away from take, make, waste kind of a model to making more resources towards the circular economy. So that's one key focus, and we're working with some large automotive companies around that space.
Thank you very much, Mr. Turi, and for the insight in the perception of e-mobility in the automotive sector in Thailand. And I got the strong impression that the importance of the automotive sector is quite strong. Dr. Nguyen, Chairman TMA Solutions Vietnam, again, a question for you. Do you see a positive force around how technology is being used and how technology decisions are made in Vietnam? And how do people seek out your guidance and expertise?
Well, thank you very much for always asking me very easy question to answer. You know, this move to digitalization to Industry 4.0 is definitely not stoppable. The pandemic in the last 2 years actually has a very strong silver lining. One of our customers who used to own about 100 retail stores throughout Vietnam, they were forced to close half of that in 2020. And they almost like went out of business. So out of desperation, they came to us and we readily help them in terms of going online, in terms of, you know, putting all of their data on the cloud, in terms of using data analytics in order to understand their customer behavior, and in a, you know, in a, I think it's a very short period of less than a year, they have turned around and have more than double their revenue, and have even now starting to go to other market in the ASEAN region. So this person is so grateful for what we do that I get a message from him every weekend. Okay, I think that after he counting on his money. So therefore, this move and the benefit of going to Industry 4.0 in terms of going to digital transformation is certainly not reversible. And all we have to do, we TMA have to do, is to make sure that we can then support them by trying to understand their business process in order to give them more effective, quicker solution to turn around in a matter of months instead of years. So it's an easy job, Mr. Butov. And we hope to be able to do the same, you know, for your huge, you know, giant in Germany as well.
Yes, but they are, Mr. Nguyen, first, thank you very much for your answer, but they are not only giants. There are a lot of question marks in the minds of companies which like to do business in the Asian side, and it's good to hear that the answers for it were easy. So there is a support for the decision makers who are thinking about doing business in the ASEAN states. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, that was the first round of the panel, and at the end of it, I would like to ask our Minister, Professor Andreas Pinkwart, the Minister of Economic Affairs in NRW. Mr. Pinkwart, how can NRW and ASEAN continue to collaborate for the implementation of digitalization in the public and the private sector?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Butov, for your nice question, and thanks to all panelists, Mr. Dorn, Mr. Nguyen, Mr. Thuli. I loved your answers very much. You see, we are very polite here in North Rhine-Westphalia. We give you very easy questions so that you can give excellent answers. But I think this is also referred to your strengths in your special fields, and I love to hear that. Dear Mr. Nguyen, it's wonderful to hear how you and your company is supporting your industry and is open for supporting also our industry here in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. I'm sure especially also our so-called Mittelstand to speed up by transforming their business in the digital world. I'm very glad also to hear from the experience of SAP with the excellent software applications in deep tech and data analytics and other advanced manufacturing methods. That's exactly what we really need to come deeper with our initiative of Factory 0.0. And there I learned in this panel also that we have here a lot of parallels and also a lot of synergies which we can use, because here in North Rhine-Westphalia is a German Excellence Center for Factory 4.0. We are working on this field since more than 15 years in artificial intelligence. Our universities and research institutes work on AI and machine learning since more than 20 years. So we have a lot of research here, excellent people and companies who are really interested to use all these technologies, but they are also keen to be much better supported in excellent software, but also human capital, as you mentioned, Mr. Nguyen. And I think there's a very strong field of future collaboration possible. But we are also proud to hear from the excellent experiences of Mr. Dorn and our Düsseldorf located worldwide active company Henkel. I love the Henkel story, especially because Henkel was one of our most successful startups from the 19th century, and just successful and a leader in its field, and a company which is permanently inventing new technologies and is also exploring new markets, and especially in the automotive industry, which we have seen with the Henkel products a really strong increasing market, and this will go further with the electric cars, where the adhesives will be much more important as they are today. So a real rich field of collaboration from both sides. And I think this, from my side, was the most important result of this panel, that we are really excellent, focused on different fields where we have strengths, each of us, and where we can be much better in the future by joining and by collaborating. And therefore, thank you for the good experiences you have from your ASEAN business on the one side, from German companies, but also with TMA, your experiences here in Germany. We love to hear that you have a new subsidiary here in Germany. I won't ask if this is located in North Rhine-Westphalia, but if not, it will be in next chance. And let me tell you that we are a real attractive state here. We have more than 20,000 international companies located in North Rhine-Westphalia with more than 1 million employees. So this gives you maybe also an impression that this is a place where people from all over the world feel themselves as well invited, and that they can stay here and live together with our inhabitants, and that we a really open-minded state. And I feel that this is the same in your countries. And this is, from my perspective, also very important, that our inhabitants, our people, come closer together, different cultures, but common goals. And I see a lot of opportunities that we can stay strong together, and that we can make the challenges of climate change and digitization and demography to common chances and opportunities. So thank you very much, and let us stay in close contact.
Thank you very much, the Minister. And meanwhile, I got a lot of questions via chat, but because of the very strict timetable, it's hard to answer everyone. Please let me pick one out, and let's give a short answer because I can do it by myself. Mr. Martin Rabe in the class asks, in the cluster of its OVL in NRW state. Its OVL is a region in Northern Westphalia where the Industry 4.0 matters, and the intelligent production is a very important economic branch. And they ask, in this cluster, we see high potential in business relations between corporates and startups between NRW and ASEAN. For example, with product process cooperation. Are there any further efforts to fasten these cooperations? And my short answer is, that's why we are sitting all together here virtually today, to talk about how we can deepen our cooperation in very important economic factors. And I point 4, and the intelligent production is one of the main topics within our today's conference. And that what is to aim is to bring the company leaders, perhaps with a company of representatives of science together, and then we will meet and we will talk about that. And it is easy just to do that face to face. And one of our main messages for the implementation of the function of a commissioner for developing the Southeast Asian cooperation with NRW is to just prepare this. So we will choose any idea and every system to bring the companies and perhaps scientists as well closer together from both sides. So this is this was the first panel, and we start with the second one. The topic of the second one is I 4.0 trends and current business situation in Indonesia and Malaysia. And I would like to ask you, Dr. Parianto, assistant professor at the Diponegoro University, Indonesia. Making Indonesia 4.0 roadmap is an important element on the national agenda, which is led by the industry ministry. It is a real ambitious program, as I saw. And Dr. Parianto, you studied and worked a number of years in Germany, and you are known as an Industry 4.0 author. Can you share with us more about the developments and ideas for making Indonesia 4.0?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Herr Butov. Thank you very much, Herr Professor Pinkwart, for the opportunity. I think it's very nice question. I will happy to answer this one because since 2018, Indonesian government was launched the program called Making Indonesia 4.0. Actually, this initiative is based on the initiative from Germany, Industry 4.0. But I will describe a little bit what is Making Indonesia 4.0. Okay, as many of you know that Indonesia is the biggest market as well as the biggest economy in ASEAN, and it's still growing. So Indonesian government trying to attach as much as possible the investment FDI in Indonesia. In order to attract the investment in Indonesia, the government need to have a strong strategy for advancing their industry. So we hope that using the new strategy, Indonesian industry can operate with more effective and efficiently. One of the initiatives is to push the transformation in industry, especially in the manufacturing industry, by launching the national initiative called Making Indonesia 4.0 that was launched by Indonesian President, Mr. Jokowi. And yeah, Making Indonesia initiative is developed based on the condition and also the opportunity that we saw many of Indonesian industries still has the opportunity to improve their productivity and capacity. And therefore, we are decide to create the new initiative, and therefore we have the industry that has the better productivity and so on. Besides to improve the efficiency of the industry in Indonesia, we also willing to accelerate the transition toward more inclusive and sustainable industrialization by using the Industry 4.0 technology. For example, we would like to, we have the program to digitalize the small, medium enterprises, as well as we have the program to shifting the industry toward the green industry. And we believe that core technology of Industry 4.0, like artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data, cloud computing, are able to be used to achieve that, that aim. And when we discuss about this program, it was launched in 2018, maybe 4 years ago, only 20% or maybe less industry or company in Indonesia that adopt or know about what is Industry 4.0. But currently, based on the recent survey, we found that more than 60% the company in Indonesia already has the experience about Industry 4.0. Yes, many of them still on the pilot project, but also many of them have the skill up transformation toward the Industry 4.0 company. For your information, that at this moment, Indonesia has 2 global like Industry 4.0 lighthouse that recognized by World Economic Forum, maybe in ASEAN, only Indonesia and Singapore. And in Indonesia, we also have 3 national lighthouse, and we have more than 15 companies that we recognize as the champion of Industry 4.0. That's just for your information. And in this year, Indonesia has the opportunity as the presidency of the G20. And in the one working group, we call the Trade, Investment and Industry Working Group, we also discuss about the Industry 4.0 topic. We would like in this working group to have the strong collaboration, implementation of Industry 4.0, not only in the developed country, but also beyond on it. And we will discuss about how we manage the technology, how we manage the skill of the employee, how we manage the innovation and so on. I think we also have the experience in the last 5 years in making Indonesia program with the several German company, for example, SAP, Siemens, Bosch, and so on. And surely we need the collaboration in the future with the Indonesia company and also with the government company. And based on my experience, I think this program, Making Indonesia 4.0, have the great impact in order to improve the productivity and efficiency in Indonesia industry. So please, when you would like to know the progress of the transformation of the Indonesia industry toward the Industry 4.0, please come to Indonesia and see. For example, we also found the Henkel Indonesia also make transformation from automation to Industry 4.0. We also have the Scott Glass, for example, as the champion in this year as the one of the company that accelerate the transformation from automation to Industry 4.0 company. So I think this is great opportunity for Indonesian company in order to make it more competitive compared with the other country, I think. Thank you very much, Herr Putov.
Yeah, thank you very much to you, Mr. Parianto, and especially for your invitation for the cooperation in a very important technological field. And it was quite interesting to see how strong your ambitions are to bring Indonesia forward on this sector. And I just want to deepen it with you, Mr. Yi, the president of CEO Siemens Malaysia. And I think it's not necessary to talk about Siemens and to explain what company it is. Mr. Yi, 25 years of working experience in engineering and technical environments, and the spearhead of the Industry 4.0 and digital transformation initiative. That's combined with your name. My question is, what are the current top priorities for industrial transformation in Malaysia from your point of view? What is Siemens doing in the field of Industry 4.0 in Malaysia? And can you share with us some best practices?
Thank you, Budov. I think Industry 4.0 was introduced to encourage industry to move into digitized manufacturing to improve efficiency and flexibility, reduce expenditures, and also ensure sophisticated accuracy, integrate with the IoT, Internet of Things, cloud computing, data integration, and other technology advances into the heart of production and manufacturing system. However, the digital transformation of the manufacturing sector appear to be slow as industry players struggle with the funding issue. There's also a mindset shift. There's also a lack of lagging of expertise. Mindset shift is always a big challenge because there's involved a lot of change management. In my view, is local industry should focus on pushing business outcomes through the adoption of technology and digitalization to drive industry transformation. The industry shouldn't wait or should not wait the government or have to really look into creating digitalization roadmap. They cannot just depending on the government or others leader of the company must start their own digital roadmap. I always mention about this. For the digital transformation, it has to start from the owner. And to this digital transformation with advanced emerging technology that will help the company to accelerate their growth. On top of that, the industry should also put focus on upskilling and reskilling for the local talent and with digital automation skill so that we will not be dependent on foreign talent. Local manufacturers should also rethink supply chain and how to be more digital, more flexible, and more resilient, elevate themselves to be part of the global supply chain. The digitalization of the manufacturing, perhaps the manufacturing system will be important to build direct links to end customer and produce innovative and also customized product. Digitalization, in my opinion, will be also help manufacturers to become more resilient to meet the market disruption, such as current pandemic. Okay, in Siemens, what we do, and as a leading technology company, we are driven by the aspiration to address the world's most profound challenges by providing innovative technology to improve life. And the pandemic has shown the importance and the necessity to using technology and digitalization for business continuity and sustainability. And Siemens is committed to help Malaysia with the digital transformation and driving for Industry 4.0. What sets Siemens apart, how our technology makes positive impact to society? In Siemens, we have lots of proven record and story, how we are leading the nation to more sustainable future to the digital transformation. For example, Siemens Malaysia has setting up a Siemens Digital Enterprise Experience Center in Penang to support the industry and the SME to embrace Industry 4.0 technologies. Why Penang? Because there's a lot of small, medium size of industry sitting in Penang. There's a huge manufacturing plant sitting in Penang, and Penang is one of the electronic hub sitting in this Asia region. One of the electronic hub, and Siemens Malaysia has helped manufacturers to jump on the Industry 4.0 bandwagon to automate and digitize their entire value chain with our digital enterprise solutions. In doing so, we are able to combine the real and the digital world, use resources more efficiently, and become more productive and sustainable. Our aim is to really help equip fellow Malaysian with the Industry 4.0 knowledge and skill set. We put emphasis of upskilling, reskilling, and multi-skilling of the existing workforce for Industry 4.0. We have set up a Siemens Innovation and Resources Training Center, SIRTC in PJ, that focus on equipping graduate and existing workforce with the Industry 4.0 training, such as Siemens Industry Training, C-Train program that we have for automation and it is an international industry standard that is widely accepted. We partner with institutions and colleges worldwide to train students. Thank you.
Thank you to you, Mr. Yi, and it's good to see how your technological solutions are on the market just to improve life for everyone, as I understood you. And now we got the insight in your activities in Malaysia. And one thing you mentioned is that Industry 4.0 is a big challenge. Why? Because it is handled with a mindset shift is a big challenge. And that affords a lot of change management, and we know all what that means. So thank you very much, Mr. Yi. I would like to ask you, Mr. Vignesh Nathan, Managing Director and Group Director, Southeast Asia from Willow. Willow is one of the world's leading manufacturers of pumps and pump systems and works worldwide in over 60 subsidiaries around the world. Mr. Nathan, I want to ask you two questions. I put them together and then you have a block to answer. First, how important is advanced manufacturing for Willow's strategic goals in Indonesia and Malaysia? And second, can you share with us about the new assembly plant that was recently set up in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia last year, and how this relates to operational growth as we emerge from the pandemic? Why was the plant set up in KL, Malaysia?
Thank you, Mr. Butov. Thank you for that question. So I think you elaborated a little bit about Willow. I just wanted to add a little bit more to it. So that those who don't know us, the Willow Group is one of the world's leading premier provider of pumps and pumping systems for building services, water management, and industrial sectors. In the past decade, we have actually developed ourselves from being a hidden champion into a much more visible and connected champion. This year will mark our 150-year anniversary. At the core of our sustainable strategy is the aim of supplying more people with clean water while simultaneously reducing our ecological footprint along the entire value chain. So to answer your question, Mr. Butov, the answer is yes, it is very important. If you think about it, advanced manufacturing in our facilities, our production and our production planning processes and material flow are actually very much dynamically linked digitally throughout the entire production process. With that constant exchange of real-time data, short-term changes in demand can be reacted quite quickly with more flexibility. So with the advanced manufacturing, it definitely does improve our process yield, reduces our manufacturing footprint, and in the end, the production life cycle is also reduced at a much lower energy usage. What does it mean for us is that this will really position us to be much ready to support the current demand challenges of our product in terms of on-time deliveries, with a much more improved line of sight of some of our components availabilities. And then if you look at it from a strategical goal perspective, how does it apply to Indonesia and Malaysia? It basically ties back to our aspiration to meet those shorter project turnarounds with a just-in-time approach, especially in markets like Indonesia and Malaysia, where we are very much focused in supporting the industrial customers with meeting the demands around short lead times. So if you look at that, and we try to understand as well what the future is looking for us, customers here in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and around ASEAN as well are increasingly demanding not only innovation from us, but are also individual products that can be modified at very much short notices. In the future, what we're seeing, customers will be able to configure the desired products from specific modules online and then order them immediately. So this means that the products and components can use the information to automatically log on to those respective processes and report their status. This implementation and the flexibility requires agile processes across the entire supply chain. We are mastering this challenge in our factory. We stay true to ourselves by remaining a digital pioneer in our industry and intend to continue to set new standards in the pump industry in the future. At the same time, we want to expand our innovation leadership in this agile age of digitalization. This will enable us to continue to offer our customers, individuals, intelligently networked and communicating products that are energy efficient and intuitive to use. To answer your second part of the question, why we've been set up in Malaysia, yes, the new operations was set up last year in the middle of the pandemic, right? We went through a difficult time, getting resources, getting people to support our facility when construction was down. But why we chose Malaysia? It's due to a strategic location across Southeast Asia. Geographically, it's in a right position. From a cost of investment, it was considered much lower. Besides that, transportation was at ease. And from an export-import friendliness, we found that the policy was more appealing. From an operational growth perspective, the platform or assembly plant is actually built in order to create more localization opportunities based on our current market demand that we see in Indonesia and in Malaysia. And it's as a result of that, it is actually in a better position to scale, to create those operational efficiencies through better management of our local vendors and supply chain against a clear product market fit that may differ today considerably in system solutions obtained from other European facilities and factories in Europe, which usually European factories basically cater to a much more matured market and requirements. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for that very interesting insight in your strategic goals in Indonesia and Malaysia. And it was quite interesting to hear why you set up your plant in Malaysia. We all profit of your explanation. Thanks a lot. I would like to switch to you, Mr. Malaika, CEO, Wirt Industrial Services Malaysia. In the core business, the Wirt line, the product range for craft and industry comprises over 100,000 products. And Wirt has now 34 years experience in Malaysia. That's quite a long time. And the principal activities, as I understood, of the company consists of trading and distributing. Mr. Malaika, two questions to you. How is Wirt developing technologies to make factories leaner? And can you share how difficult or easy it is to have automated factory systems in Malaysia?
Thank you very much, first of all, as well. Hello to everyone. And thanks for having the chance to share as well our experience here. You said already over 30 years. So what we mainly do in terms of Industry 4.0, then we talk about parts like fasteners, we talk about screws, nuts, washers, and so on, personal protective equipment. So parts with a low purchasing volume, but with a very high process costs behind that, because you need to coordinate different supplies, and especially now in these times of logistical situations, difficulties, we are solving this. So what we use in terms of Industry 4.0 is, for example, a Kanban with an RFID code. So that means we are analyzing and monitoring the demand of our customers and optimizing the purchase chain. And as well, we are mirroring this in the ERP system of our customers. So coming actually to the second part of your question, how difficult it is in Malaysia. Actually, it's not easier and not more difficult than in any other countries. But I have to say, but as Adam here already said, there's a mindset topic, and we see that mainly on local customer side. Why? Because the labor costs here are comparison to European countries, Western countries, quite low, right? So this plays one role. But if we talk about international acting companies, they see the value and they see as well the need and the profit to have a reliable partner, making sure that this partner, in this case us, is taking care that the supply chain is not interrupted. Plus, please let me add one more topic, because I had a discussion last week as well with a actually Swiss company. From my perspective, it is actually essential if you go to Asia or Southeast Asia to allow the local entity to act in a local framework. What is not working is just to copy paste German or European standards to Malaysia and then waiting that it works. This is not how it works. You can take the best out of it, but it's very essential to allow yourself to work in a local framework.
Differs from the situation in many other countries, as I think, and I see that how difficult or easy it is to have automated factory systems in Malaysia is quite good answered and understandable. Thanks you very much for that, Mr. Malaika. And I have now in the second round regarding the future, one question to every one of the four panelists. And I ask you very politely as I can, to keep it very short, because time is running out a little bit. And I would like to start with you, Dr. Parianto from the Diponegoro University once more. It was recently announced that Indonesia would be moving its capital to East Kalimantan. What is the idea behind this move? Would the new capital also function as a service and business hub? Apart from services and business playing a crucial role, does Industry 4.0 play a critical role in these plans?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think it's a very hot question, and many businessmen around the world ask this question to Indonesian government. Why Indonesian government relocate from Jakarta to the East Kalimantan? Yeah, there is many reasons. But yes, the Indonesian government will moving the capital from Jakarta to East Kalimantan, and the process will be from 2024 until 2045. So it's a long-term moving step. And in the first movement will be in the presidency office and also several ministry office. For example, Ministry of Industry will move in the 2025. Okay. Yeah, there is many reasons behind the moving of the capital. Maybe you know also from media and from other experts. First one, we have the Jakarta that overpopulated. So more than 10 million citizenship in Jakarta. So it's make the problem of the crowded, polluted, and is sinking. But it's, yeah, that's one reason. Another reason is we're trying to have another economic development, not only in Java, but also in the northern island, for example, in the Kalimantan, Sumatra, also in Sulawesi and other islands. So it's to make economy spread not only in the Java centris. And another reason, it's more about the political issue, is we would like to have the new capital that is a symbol and identity of the nation. For your information, that Indonesia is very, very big, and from east to west, it's very long, and we would like to have the capital in the middle. So in the middle is in the east Kalimantan. And yeah, about the business, in my opinion, maybe in the short and middle term, the economy still will be the Jakarta and the Java, but we hope that after 15 or 20 years after the movement, the economy and service hub will be also in the Kalimantan. So we will keep the Jakarta and Java city as the economic growth, but we hope that in the future, not only Jakarta and in Java, but also in the another island. And yes, at this moment, we still in the development and construction, yeah, a little bit. And we use the last technology, surely technology industry 4.0, for example. We would like to have the smart forest city. It means that there is a smart city technology, there is a logistic 4.0, there is transportation 4.0, there is smart transportation, and so on. So absolutely, we would like involve the technology industry 4.0 in the development of the new capital in the East Kalimantan. So feel free when you have the time, maybe next year you go to Singapore and visit the Kalimantan, because it still have a huge opportunity to develop something, to create something, and involve the development of the new capital. Thank you very much, Robuto.
Thank you very much to you, Mr. Parianto, for that insight. And it's interesting to see how much the move of the capital affects really economic factors. Mr. Yi, Siemens, another question. The Siemens Digitalization Hub is also located in Singapore to serve the Asian region. How does cross-country collaboration work, for example, with your office in Malaysia?
Thanks. I think it's a very good question, because our setup in Southeast Asia work very closely, and we support each other by providing technical expertise, best practice sharing, and so on. So in 2019, Siemens Malaysia had also invited our government agency, MIDA, Malaysian Investment Development Authority, and several industry players to visit our Siemens Digitalization Hub in Singapore, where they experience our comprehensive range of digital service and solutions. We have also set up an Advanced Manufacturing Transformation Center, AMTC, in Singapore to provide guidance, support, and also training to the manufacturing facility in Southeast Asia. During the pandemic, while traveling is restricted, however, we were still able to hold on with a webinar and also virtual tour for AMTC. You can search on those information in the internet from Siemens website. I think this is quite interesting for those who are interested on the advanced manufacturing that we have set up in Singapore. In Siemens Malaysia, we are setting up a digital enterprise experience center in Penang, as I mentioned earlier, to support industry, SME, and also embrace Industry 4 technology. But the DEX also serve technical competence center to support automation and digitalization. We will help companies to identify their business pain point using a specific methodology to brainstorm on new ideas and new cases, design new business model, develop new product and technology design, and pilot the implementation plan. So the digital enterprise solution portfolio enables the industry companies of all sizes to implement current and future technology for automation and digitalization. Perhaps we enable them to tap into full potential of the Industry 4.0 to make more technology-driven changes that will have a profound impact for the future, on the future digital enterprise, and get ready for the next level of their digital transformation journey. So thank you very much. I hope that I have answered your question. Thanks for the...
Yes, you did. Yes, Mr. Yi, thank you very much. And it's good to see how the cross-country collaboration work, for example, with your offices in Malaysia. I want to switch over to you, Mr. Nathan, once again from Willow. Industry 4.0 and the automation of the industry brings many technological changes locally and internationally. How does Willow manage this industrial change and the retraining of technicians? Thank you very much. Perhaps for a 1-minute answer. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Butov. I'll try to definitely, try to summarize my answer. For us, in the case of Industry 4.0, it involves, applied manufacturing technologies, whether it's intelligent machines and devices, automatic guided vehicles, definitely requires a highly qualified staff to be employed. And the ability of knowledge transfer is having really good teamwork and really openness for change is essential. At Willow, we promote a climate of innovation and learning. And to change that particular learning culture means it has to be a change in values and expectations. We have a learning management system and procedures to evaluate and control a learning progress and knowledge transfer. This exchange of knowledge and skills also takes place across our global network. This allows a much more efficient, quicker method for the work teams and technicians to build their skills much, much faster. One key example that I can give with regards to how we're actually retraining our technicians is what we call it the Willow Life Assistant. And it's basically a pocket-sized expert consultant in your pocket, basically. So through your smartphone, live and real-time advisors around the world can assist a technician out at site to troubleshoot an installation setup. And that particular technician can be able to retrieve information directly and able to work with that particular support that's coming from an advisor from Europe directly to pinpoint where the problems are and send documentation through smartphone display. This innovation really helps our technicians to build their skills, develop their skills much, much faster, and migrate these technicians faster to embrace the new automation and new product that are releases. Thank you.
For that, and perhaps good impacts for the ideas in the field of retraining of technicians for other companies as well. Thank you very much. And Mr. Malaika from Wirt Industrial Services Malaysia, the last question in this round now towards you before I hand over to our minister. What is Wirt focusing on, and where do you see a business focus shift in the future?
Mainly it is about data and topics like RPA. So in general, how we can even make the production leaner of our customer, how we can show a smoother process, how we can give a better forecast. But in general, we see as well a trend due to the current situation that is going on since 2 years on the logistics market. At least in our business, there is a trend from a global supply chain more to a regional or even local supply chain in order to prevent any risk. So I think if anybody in the rounds wants to open a entity in Malaysia or Southeast Asia, now is quite a good time.
Thank you. We got the message. Yes, so now the round, we finished the round now, but the last question and the finalizing of this first Asian and NRW summit will Mr. Pinkwart do at the end. Let me please, as your future colleague in many questions of the economic relations between our two states, that means big regions, say that I enjoyed it a lot to have this task and this summit and this discussion with you. It motivates me a lot regarding my very soon visit in end of April to Singapore. And believe me, I'm looking forward perhaps to meet you or one or two of you when I'm back again. So thank you very much for this. And Minister Pinkwart, you have heard now from the 5 Asian countries. How does this compare to Germany and NRW, and what benefit do you see for the Asian region and North Rhine-Westphalia? And afterwards, thank you very much for finalizing this event.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Mr. Büthoff, dear panelists, Mr. Varianto, Mr. Yi, Mr. Nathan, Mr. Malaika. It was a great pleasure to hear your statements and learn from your experiences. All of them are facing the big challenges of our time, the climate issues, digitization, demography, and what we learned at the end again from Mr. Malaika, this also shift in the globalization strategy. So we will stay global also in future, but we will collaborate in a different way. So with more regional and local adaptations and parallel developments. And this is for Germans not a real new field, because maybe you have learned that we are a federal state, a country with 16 states. One of these states is together with you this day and at this great summit. And we have a lot of cities around and regions, and we live a way to decentralize power in our democratic country. And this will be a little bit the same, I think, in the global world of the future, that we see not only the very big ones on the market, but also a lot of others, the small and medium-sized companies, the hidden champions, a lot of actors, and they will stay in different parts of the world, and we will see a diverse infrastructure and diverse activities. And I love such situation. That makes us or brings us a future which is very open-minded. There we see a lot of networks, we see close collaborations on different levels, global level, regional level, local level. And I think that our Asian partners, which we have heard this morning, are excellent partners also for this future development. You are very open-minded to meet these new challenges by a closer collaboration. We see a lot of German companies, as we have heard this morning, who are very successfully engaged in your countries. And we learned from a lot of ASEAN companies who really love to deepen the collaboration with our German and North Rhine-Westphalian companies and regions. And I think there's a rich field of opportunities. And I'm sure also the learnings from pandemic I have see was a very important topic for you. We have all together in the world learned a lot in the last 2 years. And I'm sure this can be also relevant for the resilience of our societies in the future, as we will learn day by day to use digitization in a way that human beings get a better future, make it easier for them to have excellent work and new work opportunities, and make our life smarter and more valuable. And that's a field where we can work together, implementing new technologies in the field of climate neutrality in our industries and societies much faster, and that we can optimize them by implementing digital tools. So I see there's a lot of common opportunities. I love that Industry 4.0 or 4.0 is so important for all ASEAN countries. And I can tell you it's a real strong field here in North Rhine-Westphalia. We can say that we are a little bit at the heart of this technology in Germany and also in Europe. And therefore, I would say we together have a real excellent future and a lot of opportunities for future collaboration. And therefore, I want to thank all of you, all panelists, but also participants in this virtual summit this morning. And I'm really looking forward that you will meet Mr. Büthoff in April, and hopefully also a delegation from North Rhine-Westphalia in August, so that we can personally deepen our collaboration. Thank you so much.